You're listening to Cinematic Adventures, proud member of the Misfit Faction Media Network.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Cinematic Adventures. If you're listening to us on the go, you can catch us at Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, and I'm missing the last one, Paul. What is it?
Spotify.
There you go. See, that's why he's here.
I'm Paul.
Are you? That's great. I'm Sean, and we are excited, is the key word here, to be joined by a third guest. We've had what now? 5 straight weeks? This will be 6 straight weeks of a special guest joining us for our episode. But it's a new guest.
There is?
Yes. This is a guy we've known for a long time. You've known him longer.
Like 6 weeks.
Okay, well that's still longer. But his name is Brendan, and he actually has his own YouTube channel, and we're going to let him talk about that for a minute or two.
Hi, guys.
How's it going, Brendan?
I'm doing pretty well. Thank you for having me on the podcast.
Happy to have you.
So I have a YouTube channel. I go by the name BlindBad8719. It's a YouTube channel where I play Magic the Gathering on their online platform known as Arena. And I focus primarily on the Brawl format, which is, if any of you play Magic out there, is a variant of the Commander EDH format where you have a commander who leads your deck. And instead of being 100 cards, it's 59 cards singleton. You basically play it on Arena. I play it on Arena for the most part, and I have a great time with it. If you like to see some, decks that I build and what I'm trying to explore in the format, I would say come check me out and have a good time.
And his video production's way better than ours.
That's very true.
Well, it also helps that I'm not showing my face. I just got to screen capture that stuff and do a little bit of editing here and there. I've had a little more. You have more experience, I think, with the sound editing. I have a little more experience of just my screen.
Editing?
What's
what?
that?
What's editing? It's like I can get the intro in half the time.
But you do a good job, Paul. You do a good job.
Thanks, man. I needed that today.
I know you did. Well, Brendan, we are excited to have you here because this is a movie, we've known what we were going to be talking about this month. As everyone knows, it is May. It's going to be May. Sorry, I had to.
Cut. No.
But we had May the 4th a couple days ago, and as everyone knows, that means it's Star Wars month.
Woohoo! Yeah. I wasn't sure what kind of reaction you were hoping for.
I'm expecting.
It was because you just delivered it very Star Wars month.
Like
I wasn't sure. Should I be cool about this? So
you did a good job. Thank you.
I don't feel like I did, but I appreciate you still
right.
just kind of stroking the old ego there.
So we decided very quickly that we are going to just talk about the original trilogy this month, which is, I think, for all three of us, our favorite, trilogy.
I don't know. Phantom Menace really just kind of sticks out for me.
I will get into that maybe a little bit later on the facts and trivia stuff that ties the thing in a little bit. Of research.
Nothing makes me happier than the most iconic villain of all time being named Annie.
Wow.
Now this is pod racing.
I mean, either that or Hayden Christensen. Really not much.
He's holding me back.
Okay, wait. Just a little bit in defense of that. There's a thing in writing that if you want to, where you want your person to end, be at the end of the story, you should start them completely opposite of it. A classic example is Scrooge. The redemption only works if he is this bitter, mean person at the very beginning. The greatest villain ever, that impact only works if you make him the sweetest, adorable kid in the beginning.
I will disagree wholeheartedly because, as we have seen in Star Wars, the original trilogy does the redemption arc without us having to see him as a little kid talking about sand.
Yes.
Darth Vader is one of the only characters in history where we don't even really see his redemption arc, but at the end we're still cheering. It's just, Luke, I'm your dad. We're going to take over the galaxy together. What do you say? And Luke's like, no.
You cut my hand off, man.
And then, literally, he's like, oh, man, my son's getting electrocuted after I viciously tried to kill him with a lightsaber. I should probably stop this.
I mean, but Luke's not the only person he's given that offer to.
Time to be a parent.
Darth Vader in the canon has tried to overthrow the Emperor Palpatine several times and has failed.
Yeah, until he literally overthrew him by lifting him up. Because that's what strong people do. They lift them up.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be that kind of episode.
It might be.
Well, Brendan, our special guest star came in immediately and was like, Paul's not right about this.
Good job, sir.
Make sure you guys also check out our Mel Brooks month featuring From Bibliophiles Assemble, Melanie, who also, Paul, you're not right. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about.
We do have a
this
lot
episode.
to talk about. So obviously, first episode of the month. Well, first episode of the trilogy makes sense, right?
Now, having said that, and I would love to hear both you guys' thoughts on this. If somebody were to watch Star Wars for the first time, would you have them watch this movie or go in the episode 1 through 9 order?
Machete order.
Machete order?
Yeah, you start with this. You have to.
Yeah. There's even an order where it does 4, 5, then
Rogue.
no, where they take out 1 and 2 and just go 3. And like they literally just ignore 1 and 2 almost completely.
I think 2 gets a bad rap. I like Attack of the Clones.
I think 2 just suffers from stilted acting because it sucks too. Because Hayden Christensen's not a bad actor.
I mean, it's he's given what the lines he's given. Yet he's not Marlon Brando. But
No.
neither is Mark Hamill. Neither is Carrie Fisher. Neither is Harrison Ford.
How dare you?
But they fit the characters as the way they were written.
You fit
And that I think was the big thing, because one of the theories I had reread about was the ring theory regarding the 6 films. That it's a form of poetry in that regard. And what Lucas was trying to do when he had a chance to make the prequels is to further expand this ring. So 2 has to fit a certain way, like how you have to find the right word to fit the stanza and the meter and poetry. He had to write episodes 1, 2, and 3 in a way to fit this ring structure that he saw that he wanted to do with it. And I'll go more into some of the things like we're comparing like 3 and 4 that mirror that help support this ring theory idea.
Interesting. I like it.
Look at him bringing in class.
I like it.
We just did a whole month of Mel Brooks jokes.
We did. That's all we were doing, too.
The whole movie, the whole episode, just quotes.
But this is what I was kind of hoping this episode would be, because I wanted to, this is obviously a top movie in all 3 of our movie, categories.
Lexicon.
There you go. I was looking for the right word.
Yeah.
See? Again, this is why you're here.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
And then you also have Melanie sending us the entire list of the National Film Database.
That's true. That was a great...
yeah. That's a very
that was
fun.
good. But I guess first way to start off, earliest memory of seeing this movie, if you have it. I mean,
I'm prepared.
You're prepared?
I am ready.
All right,
so
Paul, you lead us off.
I remember seeing this movie when I was 5 years old. And I remember it was the middle of the night, and I woke up because I couldn't sleep, and I went into the living room. My dad was sleeping on the couch watching, in quotation marks, resting his eyes. And the scene that I came in on was when Darth Vader, is about to kill Obi-Wan, and I thought he was a robot. So ever since that day, I've been terrified of robots, especially robots with laser swords. Yeah. So I distinctly remember watching that scene and being scared out of my mind.
Nice.
He had a sword. It was a laser. I know it's a lightsaber, so don't at me about this. I'm talking to the listeners.
Brendan, how about you?
I have around the same time, 5 or 6. I remember being in the living room. I just remember what we had was an old VHS tape that had just the little label on it saying Star Wars, because apparently my dad had recorded it off of the HBO channel at the time. But I remember just putting that in and watching it, and being in the living room and just watching the movie, like, oh wow, this is really cool, And that was the earliest memory I have of watching Star Wars.
So for me, if you can believe it, I don't have a set first time I saw it memory. I know I'd seen it multiple times as a kid, but the one time that stands out is going to see the re-release, the special edition re-release back in '97 of New Hope.
Way better film. I just wanted to see his face. That was rough.
Could you describe it, since for our audio listeners who can't see his face reaction?
Check our YouTube channel.
I
and you
can't
can
stand
see
the special editions. That's
you don't like the giant singing and dancing number in Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi?
I don't like Jabba in A New Hope.
Yeah, it's still really jarring when Han Solo walks over him.
Well, I did also. I might be cutting you off here, but
No,
I saw it. No, I remember my dad taking me to see the re-release as well, because he saw it back when it first came out, and he described like in the theater, and the opening scene where you have this small ship followed by this huge ship, and it's one thing seeing it on a TV screen. Now imagine going onto a movie theater, and this ship takes up a majority of the movie theater screen. You're like, that's a massive ship.
And then you tell yourself, wow, someone built that. Like, that's not
Their ship was a model the size of this.
Yes.
Different. Oh, see, next Star Wars month we should have Galaxy Quest as the bonus episode.
Good one. That's Star Trek though.
It's close.
It's close.
It's-
I'll give you that, but I say it's
Trekkie
more.
is derogative. It's Trekker now.
Oh,
Okay,
God.
fine. Oh, jeez. Okay, where do we go from there?
I don't know. You're the
Well,
one.
let's
hosting.
might as well go with, you said the special editions. What? All right, so we know. So the special editions are because of the special re-release that Lucas wanted to do. I think came out in like 97.
97 for the 20th anniversary. We all know. I mean, this is. It's now been 25 years since the special editions came out. And as I actually asked before we started this podcast, I was like, "Can you get the original films even today? Like, they're not on Disney Plus. Whenever they're on TV, it's the special editions." And I mean, I can't say anything. I have the Blu-ray. It's all the special editions. But yeah, you can't find the original, format, original trilogy unless, as Brendan you pointed out, is like you go on eBay or something, and you get the the old VHS tapes. Because I even think the first time it was put on DVD, I think was the special editions.
It probably was, considering the technology
it's
at the
a freaking
time.
shame, man. I'm sorry. It
Well,
is a shame. Give us a choice.
Well, I think again, it just goes back to Lucas was given a very rare opportunity, because a lot of times when any artist makes art, movies, paintings, music, they put it out, and then the consumers, us, it becomes art plaything. We can do what we want with it, and that's where like the idea of memes comes from, parodies, all that sort of stuff. And it's very rare that once an artist says, "I'm done," that they get to go back and make changes to it. Lucas was given the rare opportunity to put back in things that he wanted to have. He wanted to change things. And I know, like, one of the points, well, I think we'll talk about it now. The biggest one big changes he made was about the shootout between Greedo and Han.
I have a whole list if we want to go in order.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with that one real quick. And I think the reason, actually, let's talk about this one. Maybe we can go in the order, but let's start with this one real quick, because I think this one is the biggest issue that people have issues with, because it changes the character of Han. Lucas wanted him to become more, when he re-envisioned it, may become more of a John Wayne type character, and John Wayne characters don't shoot first, they shoot you back after you shot at him. I remember seeing the scene as a kid when Han shot first, and I understood that, hey, this is a dangerous place. He's like, as a cowboy, I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to shoot you before you shoot me. I got that as a kid. I didn't need to see hero as Luke was the hero. Han didn't need to be the hero.
Obi-Wan Kenobi cuts a guy's arm off in that cantina.
Yes, he does.
There's a lot of very, very nuanced characters, layered.
I didn't understand. I mean, I read a quote from Lucas saying that, and the way I interpreted that quote was that he's insinuating that Greedo always shot first. You just didn't see it, and I'm like, okay, but why did you have to put that just horrible
The
tilt
jump
of
cut almost.
the jump cut of Ford turning his head, so I was like, there was no need for that.
Which is even funnier because this is the only movie where the stormtroopers hit people.
It's very true.
Yeah.
So.
It's like, hey guys, can't aim anything? You're right for us.
Well, it's funny because you watch the big joke is that the stormtroopers are the worst soldiers ever.
Oh, yeah.
But they massacre the rebel ship in the beginning.
That's true.
Only 3 or 4 of them go down. But so you want me to go in order?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Some of this is mostly just visual stuff, but we'll spend a little bit more time on some of the other stuff, and then we'll take a commercial break. So the opening crawl has been recomposed again, and they added in the episode 4, A New Hope.
That's right, because as
Okay.
I recall in the original, when original,
It doesn't say
it
episode
doesn't
4.
say. It just says
A New Hope. It just says A New Hope.
It just says A New Hope?
I believe so.
I don't think it says anything.
The subtitle was retroactively added.
Okay, I think when it first came out,
It probably
there
just-
was no title above
It was
the
just
crawl.
Star
because
Wars.
again,
Yeah.
no one was believing this movie would be anything, and Lucas probably was like,
Yeah,
well,
Imagine now the merchandising rights alone.
Well, I'm gonna get into that also.
Yeah,
a little
that'll
later
be
too.
towards the end.
Just what this man did
Yeah.
is story in itself. I would love to see a movie done of George Lucas's and how he made this movie.
So first we have revised shots of the Jawa Sandcrawler. Got a couple of those
That makes- yeah.
establishing shots. That didn't bother me.
There's stuff that doesn't bother me, but it's like, again, you didn't need to do it.
Yeah.
But I get it.
Extended shots of the stormtroopers searching for the droids. They you see them riding the lizard things. I forget. There's an actual name for them, so please don't at me. But yeah. So my issue with that is we were still at that point where human bodies, when they were CG'd, even when they had like a mask, like Spider-Man was really guilty of it, or the Matrix Reloaded, where you could tell when this is the CGI, this is the actual actor. Like, it's just their bodies don't match up, the faces don't match up, the body motions don't work. Yeah, weird stuff.
Most of the, I noticed a lot more of the stuff on the Mos Eisley scene. That's where like I felt most.
That's where
of
the
added
biggest establishing shots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They did change the land speeder where they in the original cut there's a scene where it's going and they couldn't edit out the bottom wheels, so they just used Vaseline and then edited out whatever they could. So there's like this like blur underneath it. So they got rid of that. They actually raised it off the ground a little bit so it looked like it was a little bit higher. So like stuff like that I'm fine with because you know, whatever, that doesn't bother me. They redid Ben Kenobi's hut. So he's got a different house. Yeah.
The scream that Kenobi makes to scare away.
They
the
changed
sand
that too.
bat.
Yep.
That was the first time I noticed that when watching it the other day, and I was like,
That's
excessive.
I like the original one. They redid the effects of the lightsaber in which was fine because the lightsabers they look wonky in this movie, especially when they go to fight at the end.
Yeah.
There's a part in it where like Ben's like spinning it like a circle spin, and it keeps like disappearing almost. It's like very strange, but this one's morbid. The skeletal remains of Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen were enhanced.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, you know those skeletons don't look dead enough. Yeah.
John Williams.
Now we're gonna do this whole thing with Danny Elfman, and then really the big stuff. The Mos Eisley's bigger. It's busier. Extended cuts of like the Jawas swinging from the dinosaur looking thing.
Yeah.
I don't mind the bigger establishing shots to kind of show how big this world actually is, but like some of the CGI, it does not.
I think maybe that's where it annoys me more. It's just the CGI is just it's late '90s. So I mean, yes, we've had our Jurassic Park, we've had T2, but effects, we're still not 100% perfect. To the point where they are right now.
They're called dewbacks, by the way. Those are the lizard things.
Dewbacks.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. But yes, I agree. I think
so. It's the visual effects. Again, I don't know how long it took him to go back and do this, like how many years he did the effects on, but it just felt a little rushed to me. I don't know, that's how I took it.
They do change Han's line to Greedo. It was originally, yes, I'll bet you have, and now it's just, I'll bet you have. Stupid. And then obviously we discussed Greedo shooting first. Han shot first. Let's all get over it.
Please.
To the point where in Solo they make fun of that line and that whole situation. This was one of the best examples of like fans backlashing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. They make shirts and everything.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You have the CGI version of Jabba the Hutt. Now that scene was originally filmed.
See,
yes.
I want to, because in watching documentaries on the making of this movie, they never talked about Jabba the Hutt appearing in that movie, and I'm curious.
Have you seen the original scene?
With what?
Without the CGI?
Without the CGI.
No, I've never seen.
So in that scene, they have just a normal guy playing Jabba.
Oh, so it's like a guy playing.
It's a
Jabba.
guy, and he's got like a coat on, like he's like a gangster type guy because they didn't know what Jabba was going to look like.
That was my whole thing. I was like,
Jabba wasn't designed until Return of the Jedi as a giant slug. So that's why when he walks over his tail, originally he just walks around him. Because he's a normal guy.
Yeah.
With just a big coat.
So I didn't know that. I'd never seen that. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense now.
That's why it looks so janky when he's like...
Well, and I also think the scene feels weird because you have to add the CGI Jabba, and whereas, like, again, when it wasn't in there originally, like, you just hear the name, Jabba the Hutt. And then I think having the reveal in the third film, Return of the Jedi, of what Jabba looks like, oh. But
that's it. It takes away, like, if someone's watching it for the first time... To me now, it takes away the impact of seeing Jabba for the first time in Jedi.
And also,
if they remember it, I mean,
you're also running into the issue of CGI characters of the '90s interacting with normal people, and it is just, oh god, it's hard to watch.
It is awkward, and not as good.
It's bad.
They redid the shot of the Falcon taken off with CGI.
Yep, I remember that.
That
wasn't that bad.
Let's see, the shockwave around Alderaan.
Also, the destruction of the Death Star was
they had
changed.
the Ring of Destruction. Let's see. And then mostly a lot of visual stuff going on here. Some line changes, like C-3PO's line where he describes the tractor beam's power systems is back in. I didn't know it was taken out. When Han Solo when they're chasing the Stormtroopers, they go into a much bigger room with like way more Stormtroopers.
Oh, okay.
So, it's a scene where he's like, he's chasing after them.
Yep.
And he runs into the room, and then there's like 1,000 Stormtroopers.
None of them hit him. That was
Yeah.
good.
Oh, of course not. They added the line in, close the blast door, and then open the blast door. Which is weird because it's a different guy. It's a different voice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so let's see. They added more sound effects to the Stormtrooper hitting his head, the iconic head dump.
I missed that most of the time, actually.
I love that. Well, they do it in a ton of the movies now. Boba Fett does it in Attack of the Clones. He hits his head on... not Boba Fett, Jango Fett.
Okay.
Yeah, they add it wherever they can. They got some good ones.
Was that Boba Fett in the Jabba scene in New Hope?
Yep.
In the special...
Yeah,
that is supposed to be Boba Fett?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he looks much better now.
I was
now
about
that
to
he's
say,
got his own
just
show.
adds to just what an amazing character he is and does absolutely nothing.
Oh, I can't wait to do Fanboys. Oops, I wasn't supposed to say we were doing Fanboys. That's fine.
Killed it.
That's fine.
Everybody's gonna be like, "What's Fanboys?" We've never heard of it.
Well, we got to give them time to actually watch it. But and then because the Rocket, he has the same powers as the Rocketeer. Goes out like a chump.
I like the Rocketeer. I remember that as a
we
kid.
love the Rocketeer. We love
the
that.
Rocketeer.
They added in the scene of Luke Skywalker and Biggs Darklighter just before the Battle of Yavin.
That's right. That scene I never remembered from the original too. So because you were always just like Biggs, and I'm like, oh, that's his friend. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you're here too.
And I think one of the most iconic shots, the one that they kept using in a lot of the promotional stuff, was the scene of the entire squadron going towards the Death Star.
Yes.
Yeah, that was so that's one of the few, again, like you were saying, the establishing shots a little bit, those don't mind as much because they're extra fluff that doesn't really add or subtract, I feel like, as much. I do think sometimes Lucas ignored the rule that less is more when it comes to when you edit something or when you're creating something. If you don't need it, you take it out. So that's the downside. I feel like when it's cool, a better establishing shot. The squadron thing looks really sweet, but if it's not needed, it's one of the rules of filmmaking. You're supposed to take it out.
Yeah, but like I know we've said a few times now, I get George Lucas had this vision, and he was definitely hindered by what he could do at the time.
Yes.
This movie did a lot of brand new things for the first time. Model work and some matte wipes and CGI.
And some of the and some of the special effects crew have openly said that Lucas was not happy overall with the way the film looked.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it just...
It's mind-boggling.
It's mind-boggling, but, you have to also, attest to the guy had a vision, and what he wanted was not met. But, just wow, though. I mean, no matter what, it's iconic, everything in this movie. But to just think that what he gave us in 97 was probably what, obviously he was hoping back in the 70s it was, but just you couldn't hit that. There was no way. So, I mean, listen, most people will say they're not, too much fans of the special edition remasters, but, they are what they are.
They are what they are.
And
if they weren't, we wouldn't know what they are.
That's true.
Shakespeare. I don't really
Okay.
know. Yeah.
See,
But,
Brenda's just like, no.
We also got, so we mentioned the Death Star's a different explosion. During the victory celebration, there's, they added more soldiers in.
No, it was Jedi when they added, different planets celebrating.
I can't wait to talk about the Jedi, when they got rid of Yub Nub. I loved that song as a kid. Yub Nub. Yeah. Oh, triggered.
Oh, there we go, people. This is what you got to look forward to.
James Earl Jones was added to the credits as the voice of Darth Vader.
He wasn't in the credits?
That's what it says here. Was added to the credits as the voice of Darth Vader. And then a lot of just, they redid a lot of the wipes, and they redid, stuff like that just to kind of clean it up a little bit.
Well, there we go. So that is everything that's different between the original and the special edition of New Hope. So I guess we'll go into the cast.
Well, first we're going to take a quick break.
Oh, okay. Okay,
commercial
everybody.
break.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a few.
Thank you guys for watching. To listen to the whole podcast episode, you can go to our website, themisfitfaction.com, or wherever you download podcasts.